I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and we're out here at the range today to review one of Grizzly Target's IPSC reactive targets. Now this is a really cool target from Grizzly Targets. It is AR500 armor-plated steel, and it is a reactive target. So it has this swing set base here, and if I turn the target sideways, you guys will kind of see how this works here. We have a 2x4 bracket, and we have this nice galvanized steel bracket and a hinge here that is bolted to the back of the steel plate. Now this is kind of advantageous for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's bolted in there, no welds, so you don't have any weak points on the actual steel plate itself. The use of the bolts also gives you the ability to unbolt and switch the plate around so that once the strike face gets too beat up, or if the plate starts to take a curve, then you can flip it and start to shoot the other side. So it really gives you twice the life out of the target versus a target that has brackets that are welded onto it. We've also seen that even some of the most careful welds will cause some weakening of the steel, and you'll get spots on the strike face that are actually softer than the rest of the target. So that's not something you have to worry about with bolts. Now we have got a couple of pistol hits on the bolts, and these are nice big beefy bolts, so they have held up quite well. One of the really neat things about Grizzly targets is they galvanize their brackets. So not the actual plate itself. The plate itself is painted AR500, but the brackets are hot dip galvanized. And so that gives you a lot more corrosion resistance out here in the environment. Now to test that, I have pretty much stored this target outside through our winter weather here, and it's had snow building up onto it, ice, rain, all the nasty stuff that you get in southern Indiana fall and winter. And it has held up really, really well. The only rust that I actually have on the target itself is on the AR500 plate, where we've scuffed away some of the paint on the back of it. Of course, the strike face got a little bit of rust on it where we've blown the paint off of it, but you can tell that through shooting we've blown most of that rust or any of that corrosion off, so it's working really well now. Now we did shoot this gun with 45 9mm, and then we even shot it with some 5.56 at a range of about 20 to 30 yards. Now you shouldn't shoot steel plates with 5.56 that close, but we did for a couple of reasons. One is to see the durability of the AR500 steel, and then also to see if the incline allowed us to get a little bit closer without getting a splashback. And I'm happy to report that while we were shooting this guy, even close range with pistol, we didn't get any splashback at all. It does appear to be directing all that splash down at the ground. But that does bring us to one problem we discovered with the Grizzly target setup here. It does use the 2x4, and down here at the bottom it is directing all of that splash back into the 2x4, and it is really chewing up that 2x4. Now 2x4s are fairly cheap, especially if you get reject lumber, so the fact that it's blowing up this 2x4 is not a big deal. But right now this 2x4 has got about 300 rounds of handgun on it, and about 200 rounds of 5.56 on it, and it's chewed about almost halfway through. So it's about halfway through the life of this target. So you can tell that if you were going to use this in a carbine class, you're going to have to plan to replace the 2x4 at some point in time during the class. Now we're going to be able to swap this 2x4, turn it around, or even flip it top to bottom, since it's not exactly in the middle where we're having the chewed up point, and we should be able to get a little bit more life out of it, but I would definitely keep some spare 2x4s around. Now also the target came with a base, and it is a 2x4 base, and it is a asymmetric base. So since the target hangs out to the front. The legs are longer in front on the base, and we didn't really have any problems with the target flopping over. Once you get this set up, it is fairly heavy, so we didn't have any issues with the wind blowing it around. Even set as high as it is. I normally don't set targets this high, but I wanted to see how stable the base is, and it's worked really, really well for us. The base is drilled with holes, so you can put ground stakes in if you want to hold the base down. So overall, I think this is a great target. It's worked really well for carbine and pistol training. I think it'll work really well for long range training because you do have this reactive swing, so it makes it a little bit easier to see impacts if you are at ranges where you're not necessarily going to see the splash of the bullet. And it's a great fun target overall. You get a really nice sound when you hit it, and you do get a little bit of motion. The target size is perfect for intermediate range carbine and for close range handgun and for speed practice. So I can definitely recommend the Grizzly target. Now, for improvement, one thing I would like to see them do is maybe as an additional cost provide some kind of 2x4 protector that you could put on here, maybe a mild steel or even a thinner armor plate steel that you could put on the front just to keep that splash from chewing through the 2x4. I think that would help greatly and make your 2x4s last a little bit longer. But overall, I can definitely give the Grizzly targets IPSC reactive target a thumbs up. We'll leave a link down below on where you can locate the target, and we definitely want to thank Grizzly Targets for sending it out to us. If you guys have liked the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot.